Hello, viewers. Vibhuti Jha here, and this is Jaipur Dialogue USA. Please like, subscribe, and support our channel. Give your feedback, and we take it up from there. Now, Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada has taken a single-handed approach towards India and Modi government. This is more than obvious. He has been doing this by protecting the Khalistanis, who are enemies of India and Indians, by granting them all kinds of freedoms in his own domain. Now, he's the Prime Minister. I do not know if the entire Canada supports this shenanigan of his, or if the Conservative Party of Canada does that, but points out to two or three very critical issues. One is that despite significant investments by Canadian pension funds and investment authorities in India, Trudeau continues with that. Despite significant presence of Indian students who contribute handsomely to the Canadian economy, he's siding with the Khalistanis. The question is why, and what must Indians do? So if you are looking at this point of view, Canada is making the Canadian investment in India is not a charity. They are also making money out of that. As much as India needs foreign investments, Canada also is making big money out of India. So the question is he willing to forsake all of it, given the diplomatic wrangle that has happened between India and Canada? Is he willing to risk the entire economic giant behavior or conduct or opportunity that exists between the two countries? Is he willing to forsake Indians no longer coming to Canada to study, if that is the way he is dealing with it? Or is it just a pastime for Trudeau to continue in power with the help of a coalition partner that openly demands secessionist movement from India? That's the important issue to be addressed. So we have significant investments from Canada. Canada benefits from India's investments in India. Indian students coming to Canada contribute handsomely. All of it goes out of the window only because he wants to protect the interests of those elements who are anti-India, anti-Hindu, and who openly attack Hindu establishments, Hindu people, and Indian High Commission in Canada. Can it be taken lightly? Can we forsake our sovereignty and integrity because of Canadian investments alone? If this particular Prime Minister is so anti-India, he almost looks like a toolkit operator on behalf of vested interests, and as reports suggest, he belongs to the George Soros gang and George Soros' agenda of dismantling Modi and Hindus in India. That man and his family, his son, they are known elements. It's not a secret anymore. So the question arises, what must Indians do? After all, when you are being poked and instigated and attacked, are Indians going to sit quiet? Or what kind of a response they must take individually and collectively? Because Khalistanis don't care for what the Indian government does. Khalistanis attack you and I directly, individually. To that end, it is very important for all Indians in America and in Canada to join hands and demand equal freedom for themselves too, because the wheels of justice move slow. I often talk about this element that Muhammad Qasim, who was one of the 10 young men who perpetrated the heinous crime of 26/11 in India, it took 3 years to prove him guilty, despite being visible on videos around the world. My question here is, what must Indians do? What must you and I do? First things first, We must not get rattled, but we must take full cognizance of what Prime Minister Trudeau is doing, his government is doing. And that is, we must raise the protest against that, because we can't let it drift as a governmental action and let Prime Minister Modi and Indian government respond. Because what is important here is that you and I come in the line of fire by these anti-social, secessionist, terrorist elements. Because moment you raise your voice, they come to attack you. Now here is the thing that I talk about, the 3 V's. These people know that they are a vote bank, primary important vote bank in Canada. And Justin Trudeau is relying upon that partnership to stay in government. And those people have demanded concessions from him about what he will do on their behalf in the name of Canadian government. Vote bank. The second is the violence part of it. These people resort to violence almost instantly, at the drop of a hat, to put it mildly. They resort to violence against individuals, knowing fully well that in democracy, the wheels of justice, unfortunately, move slow, because you are not guilty until proven beyond reasonable doubt. So everything that is there is freedom for me. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion. Behind the banner of freedoms, they attack you and I, or the basic fabric of any country. The third element, they instantly become victim. They claim victimhood. So 3 V's: vote bank, violence, and victimhood. They will immediately begin to blame everybody else for their problems they cause. This is also very important to understand. Victimhood. This is the typical playbook mechanism of these people. Immediately blame everybody else, Hindus, India, and everybody else who is affected by them. They blame them for their suffering. You see the point? This is the same playbook that Islamists do in democracies. Same playbook. So Khalistanis and Islamists are rowing the same boat, using the same tactic, using the same mechanism, the shenanigan, how to use freedom as the fault line of democracy. And the Western democracies and democracies around the world bend backwards to accommodate these unreasonable demands. It is funny. This is where you have to understand. And that's what every Indian must do, and every democracy lover must do around the world, is that you cannot take our systems for granted. Yes, our wheels of justice move slow. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. We have to create a separate mechanism to try these people in an expedited manner. What is important is that these people are relying upon you and I. As somebody told me once, go ahead and prove me guilty. It will be you whites, it will be the whites, the blacks, the Jews, the Hindus, and everybody else who will fight our cases for free, because we have the freedom to demand a fair trial. They must know that you have the freedom for a just trial, but you have no rights to take a life because you feel your issue is not so important, or we are fighting against that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what is important. Raise your voice, participate, and talk and ask the government of Justin Trudeau, or anywhere else for that matter, for the matter, to demand justice for you and I. If you do not, then for these people, nothing else matters. They don't give a damn for massive Canadian investments in India, which the Canadian people reap rewards of economic relationships, but they are instigating and propagating and indulging in propaganda of victimhood I told you about, because they are a vote bank and they are willing to participate in violence. You see the point? So abuse of the process of democracy cannot be allowed. So I would urge every Indian, every democracy lover, every freedom lover, that make sure that what we cherish is not abused by these unhealthy elements, these terrorist elements, these antisocial elements who attack you and I because they don't agree with us. So these are the very people who, in their dispensation, will not grant you any freedom, but they are using our freedoms against us. That's the point you have to realize. The final point that I wanted to make, this also must be taken very seriously, because we know that certain elements of the deep state, or the megalomaniac James Bond villains of billionaires, elitists, they want to run the world according to their whims and fancies. And there are times when somebody becomes an obstacle. India and Modi are that obstacle in the dream, in the aspirations and ugly dreams of these people. Let's turn their dreams into their nightmares. That's what we must do. Raise your voice, protest individually, collectively. Don't let it pass. Satyameva Jayate. If truth must triumph, we must fight for it and stand up for it. Thank you very much for watching.